Okay, so welcome everybody. My name's Tiffany Sosa, for those of you who haven't met me. Today I have a special guest here, and I want to welcome all of you. And I want you to meet somebody who is a good friend of mine, who I believe we can all learn from and benefit from. Angela Irwin. Angela Irwin is an international confidence coach. She's a TEDx speaker, and she's the founder of the Joyful Life Solutions, um, uh, which specializes in helping women reprogram their self acceptance to build lasting confidence so that they can achieve their full potential. And as if that wasn't enough, during the pandemic, Angela launched a nonprofit called the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund to help ensure that her fellow cochlear implant recipients have access to the ongoing critical technology that they need to keep their hearing and remain part of the hearing world. So, born with normal hearing, Angela began losing her hearing around the age of 7 and eventually went completely deaf. At the age of 22, she received a cochlear implant, and as she refers to it, got a second chance at life. So Angela is living proof that the challenges we face don't have to stop us, and in fact can take us places we never could have imagined. So you know what? I'm going to be sharing the link if you want to watch her TEDx talk. It's so inspiring. But everybody, I want you to meet my friend Angela. Welcome, Angela.
Hello, everybody. I'm
Hi.
so excited to be here. Happy Friday to everybody. Getting to spend some time with one of my favorite people on the planet, Tiffany Sosa. And it's Friday afternoon already here in me, so I kind of got the Friday vibes going on. I know it's morning for all of you, but really excited to be here. And I just want to take a quick moment to acknowledge Tiffany and doTERRA and the Healing Hands Foundation. You may have seen when Tiffany, we did a fundraiser together for at the end of the year last year and raised almost $26,000 for the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund, which is just mind blowing to me. So I am forever indebted to doTERRA, to the Healing Hands Foundation. It was just absolutely an incredible experience. So we were just this tiny little nonprofit, and to be able to raise that amount of money so that people don't lose their hearing a second time has been such a big deal. For example, we just had a college student last week in Utah who has had her cochlear implant. So she's had surgery and has had her implant for a number of years, but it needs upkeep and her rechargeable battery wasn't lasting very long. So she's actually having to leave her college classes to go home, recharge the battery, which you can imagine how well that goes over with her professors, come back and, try to be a part and try to do her studies and all of that. So it's, even $250 can make a life changing impact on someone. So I'm just so thrilled and grateful to Tiffany for setting up that fundraiser for us. And yeah, very happy to be here at this very exciting time with doTERRA.
It really is. There's so many good changes that are happening, and that being able to collaborate with you in the doTERRA match fundraiser was so just uplifting, I think, to everybody who participated. I know we've got some of the people who participated on the call with us here right now, and it warms my heart to be able to connect nonprofits like yours, that are actually making a huge difference in the lives of people with an amazing company like doTERRA, so that we can help them, keep their hearing. So I was honored to be able to be a part of all of it. I just was sort of an intermediary. It was so cool. Um, but today we're here to talk about confidence. So that's like the other side, that your day job, right? And so talk to me for a minute about, why is confidence so important?
Okay, well, the short answer is without it, you will stay stuck. And confidence really is about taking action We have to get into action, and it can be really difficult at times. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but that's really the short answer. Um, a couple of things, really a misconception, I think is a good place to start out with, because I used to think that confidence was either, something you had or something you didn't have. You were born with it, or you weren't. I didn't know until my early 40s, and I'm still in my 40s, by the way. So this is new information. That it is something that we can actually change. It is very much like a muscle. I like to liken it to, lifting arm weights, right? If we go and lift a weight one time, we're not going to notice much of a difference, right? We have to do those repetitions. We have to consistently show up and do those repetitions. And building our confidence muscle is the same thing. We have to first get into action. And I think that there's another misconception of, well, I'll feel confident when I fill in the blank. That could be get another degree, find a life partner, lose the weight, whatever it might be. Like we put in sort of those conditions that we think, okay, once I get to this point, then I will feel confident. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. This is not one of those chicken and egg mysteries at all. To build that confidence muscle, we have to get into action. And so I know that's probably not the answer that people wanted to hear, but that's just the truth of it. Another thing that I really want to sort of level set, or you might be hearing this for the very first time, but our brain, there's a reason that when we think about getting out of our comfort zone, that we immediately have a sense of fear, of just where all these emotions start to creep up. And that is because our brain's number one responsibility is to keep us safe. Our brain is designed to keep us safe and keep us alive. That is its number one goal. And so it's going to do anything it can to keep us safe. Now, the unfortunate part, as amazing as our brains are and as complex and wonderful, one of the shortfalls is that it cannot detect between real and perceived danger. So the idea of getting on social media and doing a live video feels exactly like when you put your hand on a hot stove, if you've ever stepped off a curb and a car comes, that feeling, it's the same feeling, because it can't determine, our brains can't determine, oh, this is, doing a live video, they're not really in danger. It's the same reaction. The brain is just going, danger, danger, danger. And so we pull back, just like we pull back our hand from the hot stove. So it's really, I think, important to know this is normal. And I don't often use the word normal, because what is normal after all? But in this case, that's a normal reaction, because that's what the brain is designed to do, to keep us safe. So if you are in fear, doubt, you get scared, that's actually a good sign. Because, and I say this tongue in cheek, and I'll, make it lighten the mood a little bit, but that means that you're having normal brain functions. That's good to know, right? Because sometimes you're like, hello. Exactly. Hello. Is this thing working? Is this on? And so when you have those feelings, that means, okay, normal brain function, the brain's doing what it's supposed to do. Now, like I said, I say that just sort of tongue in cheek, but it's so true. So, but the good news about that, if we have this information, knowledge is power. We can harness this, and we can do some brain hacks, and we can do some workarounds so that we don't stay stuck in those heavy, icky feelings that come up. So we just want to change our perspective. And so when we know that the brain can't make that distinguishing determination, when you're stepping out of your comfort zone, whatever that might be, sending an email, sending a text, social media, whatever it might, calling, making a phone call, we know, so be prepared. We know those emotions are going to come up. And so what we want to ask ourselves is, this really, am I really in danger? Am I really in danger? Let's turn this on its head, put it into a different perspective. So I had one of the very first clients that I was working with. One of her goals was, she was an online business manager, and one of her goals was to, this was back when Facebook Live was just coming out. So this is pre, like, Instagram wasn't even part of Meta at the time. This was when Facebook Live was new. And she's like, she knew she needed it to build her business, to be on Facebook Live, to get some clients as an online business manager. And so we were having weekly sessions. And so we decided that, she said, this is my goal. And I said, okay, so by when are you committing to do this first Facebook Live? And she said, I'll do one buyer session next week. So I said, perfect, fine. We go away, come back in a week's time, no Facebook Live. And, this and that, life, okay, no problem. She decides, yes, this is still my goal. All right, by when are you going to do this? Are you committed to do this? One Facebook Live buyer meeting next week. Come back the next week, no Facebook Live. And then this is the part of having a coach. Like, you have that accountability, and I'm like, all right, so what's really going on? Oh, the dog ate my homework. Every excuse. It's what we do. And I said, so what's really going on here? And she's, sort of trying to figure it out. I don't know. And I said, well, what's the worst that could happen? And without any hesitation, she blurts out, I could die. And we both just, our eyes this big, we both just like froze, and then immediately busted out laughing. I make it a really, really serious point not to laugh at my clients, but it was so, we were both just like, this is crazy. But it wasn't. That's the thing. And it was so palpable in her that she just blurts out, I could die. And then when you say it aloud, she's like, okay, I realize that wasn't going to be the case. And so she went away. Next week comes back, has done 2 Facebook Lives. And guess what? She's like, I said, so how did you feel? What did you think? And she's like, it wasn't really that bad.
That's so good.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we build these giant things up in our mind, and when left unattended in our thoughts to our own devices, we build this into some scary monster that takes on a life of its own. And I do want to share this other little tidbit about this particular woman. This woman grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, she will throat punch you on the subway if you look at her wrong, but and I'm only half kidding, because I think she would. But that's how real, and I mean, it was just palpable to her that that's what she thought. Like, I could literally die if I do this. And then, of course, when you kind of unravel it, and she goes, oh, okay. It wasn't so bad. So that's why it's so important that we just get in action. Yeah. No matter how small, because then we can, kind of beat back that scary monster and go, oh, that wasn't so bad. And, minimize that amount of time that we're spending there.
That makes so much sense. I think back to when I first started. I mean, we're all doTERRA wellness advocates here. And I remember when I first started building my doTERRA business, for me, my thing was, I don't know enough about the oils. And I would look at some of the people, the leaders that I saw on the internet, and I was watching how they teach. And I kept thinking, when I know as much as they do, I'll feel confident. And what I started to realize was, if I wait until I feel confident, I'll never get started. And if I wait till I know everything about the oils, I'll never get started. So I just started with what I knew, and then and I learned a whole lot of stuff along the way, and I built a lot of confidence along the way. But I'll tell you something, even getting on this call today, I had butterflies before we hopped on. I don't know how many oil classes I have taught in the last 8 years. I still get nervous before I start teaching. Like it doesn't go away. You just learn how to ignore it, right? And just step into it. And there have been times in my business where, and in life in general, where I feel stuck and I feel negative, and those negative thoughts breed more negativity, which breeds more inaction. And if I just force myself to do something, even if I don't feel like it, I actually instantly feel better. Like the feeling of productivity makes me feel so good. So, and and that whole thing that you're talking about too, about that fight, flight, freeze response that your brain is trying to keep you safe, we have the best tools for that, guys. We've got our oils, right? Those aromatic compounds go up your brain and they actually stop that whole thing from happening. And I know you've got some tools that you use and that you share with your clients, some doTERRA oils that you actually use to help with confidence. Can you talk about what are your favorites?
Absolutely. And you did touch on so many important pieces there. And I think want to make absolute certain that this is clear. Um, these emotions are always going to come up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how far we get and how much the confidence muscle. I mean, we have to get in action to build the confidence. It will come easier. But anytime you're up leveling in any way in your life, those emotions are going to come back again, because it's how the brain is designed. But it's like exactly like you said, Tiffany, it's having those tools in your toolbox so that you don't stay stuck there, so that you get into action. And you guys absolutely, as doTERRA wellness advocates and leaders, like you guys absolutely have these amazing tools at your disposal. So that alone, your product should, you're already at, another level of being able to build your confidence. So, Tiffany, when we met last summer at online networking event, and then, we got to know each other, see each other every week. And you had said to me, if you're open to it, I'd love to send you some samples. There's this one thing called Spearmint that really helps me find my words, when I'm speaking or anything like that. And I'm like, hello, yes, please. I'm someone like, maybe I wasn't always, but at this point in life, now I'm like, any tools you got, give them to me. Like as many tools as we can have in our toolbox for that very reason, to help us get unstuck. What tool can I utilize? And so, I mean, my Spearmint is like right here all the time. Like it's within, sits next to my mouse.
And how do you use it?
So I, most frequently just, to the roof of my mouth,
Okay.
um, and or in my, in my water as well. But I absolutely swear by it. I do a lot of podcast interviews and interview people, or do speaking, or even on my coaching clients when, I want to have like my words ready at the ready. And it can't be coincidence, because there have been too many times when I've forgotten to use it. And I'm like, peanut butter.
Blah, 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 blah.
What? Darn it, I forgot to take my Spearmint. I love, also like the balance, where you can, as you said, breathe that in, as you taught me so well. Just being able to breathe that in, you feel more calm. And I use I have the whole MetaPower, which is, the Advantage, which really helped. I think I started in November, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Just with like that brain fog. And then in December, we ended up with Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund having 3 fundraisers going on simultaneously, not by design. But I just remember being so struck by how calm I felt compared to the previous 2 years when we did one fundraiser.
Yeah.
It just really helped with the brain fog, and I lost inches around my belly, and just that sense of calm. Was really good. So I use I like the MetaPower drops as well in my water. I think that tastes good. And then I have could go on. I could go on, but yeah, you really got me. With some great ones like the In Tune roller. So I use that, and absolutely, I absolutely love these products.
Mhm. And then yesterday, I'm just going to add on to that for those of you who are looking for some oil tools. I texted Angela a picture from the Essential Emotions book. Cassia is the oil of confidence. You probably are all sitting there waiting, like, when is she going to mention Cassia? I never thought of that. So I'm like, okay, I actually put Cassia in my coffee this morning. Tasted delicious. Tastes like cinnamon. So we'll have to get you some, Angela.
Yeah, I need to get that. I couldn't believe it when you sent me that, and I was just reading it, going, "Hello, okay,
That's
let's get this. Let's
so
bring this into
perfect.
the toolbox."
Yes. So we can use it for ourselves. We can use it for our teams, right? We can teach our doTERRA builder teams to use it. And speaking as someone who used to be really timid and unsure of myself, I know firsthand what building your confidence can do for yourself. So tell me, what tips do you have for building that confidence muscle?
I think a couple of good ones to start out with, some simple ones to start out with, is really becoming aware of your thoughts, because that is so powerful. We have the research shows anywhere from 6,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. 80% of those are negative. 90% of those are repetitive. So we're just on this sort of autopilot with our thoughts.
Oh, just
And
beating ourselves
so
up.
yeah, it's amazing when you look at this data and this research, and then we go, no wonder I don't feel so great about myself, because all day long, and it's just on autopilot. We don't even know that we're aware of it. So if we can sort of pay attention and catch these thoughts, we need to then redirect them.
Mhm.
And it's the same as when I was, mentioning and, challenging when we feel that fear come up. Am I really in danger? Or is this, this my brain just trying to keep me safe? We want to challenge these thoughts as well. When we have the thoughts of less than, or I don't know enough, I'll build my business when I feel I learn more about the oils, or when,
Right.
it's all just, and then of course that doesn't happen because we have got to get into action. So if we can redirect our thoughts and say, well, let's just take what's the next best first step, and just anything small,
Mm.
anything to get, just like what you were saying earlier, Tiffany, is like, when we have that sense of satisfaction about being productive, that also releases more positive chemicals.
Yes.
And when we go, oh, that wasn't so bad, let me do another one.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do. And so that's a big one, is just redirecting your thoughts. And then I think another one that's been really helpful for me, and certainly as you all as network marketers, but anybody like in a service or product based business where we feel like we're really putting ourselves out. I had 15 years in the corporate world, and it's such a different thing when you're under an umbrella. You're like, oh, well, and you guys get to be both of those things, which is very cool, because you are under
Representing
the
our
umbrella of these amazing products and this amazing philanthropical arm that you have. So you guys have that benefit as well. But if we can, again, do a paradigm shift, change of perspective, and take the focus off of us, right? Because when
oh
we think
yeah.
about picking up the phone, sending a text, getting
Yeah,
on,
nobody
doing
wants
a reels,
nobody wants to be icky and sound salesy, and we worry what other people think about us, right?
exactly.
That
That's
stops us
exactly
from
that's exactly it. What are people going to say? Oh, what if I don't know enough? Oh, my hair looks like crap today, like, right? And it's just a stalling mechanism.
yeah.
And so if we can turn that around and go, okay, let's take the focus off me. It isn't about me. Go into a place of service. Come at it from a place of service. It really, like, I just got chills when I said that, because you really do feel something in your body when you go, okay, wait a minute, forget all that stuff. I'm coming from a place of service. And again, you guys have the upper leg here because you have such amazing products that have
Life
all the
changing.
science behind it, and
Yeah.
you know it works. You're using it yourself. You're saying, I mean, I've been using it for a few short months, and I won't not ever not use it. You know what I mean? And I'm sharing it with my clients, And so when you come from that place of service and just turn that around and go, okay, who needs what I have? Who is suffering from insomnia or digestive orders, or whatever it is?
Mhm.
They need to find their words before they do some public speaking. Whatever it is, I'm sitting on it. I have this thing that I can help other people. Who needs to hear that? And I think it just really does, brings a lightness to trying to get into that action.
Right. It's a difference between entering into a conversation trying to get a sale versus entering into a conversation knowing that you have something that can change someone's life. And when you realize that, it becomes a mission. You can't help but share, because it's almost you when you realize that someone has a problem and you know you have a solution, it's selfish not to say something,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
And I
absolutely.
and I know you've got a workshop starting soon. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I have a new micro course, I guess I would call it, group program. It's called Spring Clean Your Confidence. And I wanted to create something. I don't know about you guys, but even just the start of this year so far, I mean, it's very been, the past several years have been extremely busy, and, all these things going on. But the start of this year feels even like on steroids more. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like just constantly getting, come join this training, and it's, you know, 8 hours long, or come to this online summit and it's 100 speakers in 6 days.
I
Like
know,
all
right?
seem amazing, but it's like, get anything done if
Right.
so I was just thinking, what can I do that's more light but still effective? And so that's what this is going to be. Spring Clean Your Confidence. It's designed for busy women who don't have that much time to spend hours and hours and hours each week to spend with a coach, or on trainings, but still want to get into action and build this confidence muscle. And so the real key behind that is to improve our relationships with ourselves. That is really the foundation of how we're going to build that core confidence. And then the action we take on top of it, it'll be extrapolated. And so what this is going to be is 3 weeks. Starts on Sunday, this coming Sunday, but it's going to be very flexible. So basically, what you'll get for each Sunday for 3 weeks is a 10 to 15-minute audio with some training, similar to what we're sort of doing here today, and then some tools and tips that you can immediately implement and get into action. And then each Wednesday at noon Eastern time, we're going to get on a 30-minute live coaching call. Again, very similar to this vibe that we have today. And the idea is that this is going to be very efficient yet very impactful. So this isn't something that's going to take up hours of your week. You can listen to the audio recording of 10 to 15 minutes, at any point. Or you can come on to the live calls. If you can't make them live, they'll be recorded, and you can get the audios.
Mhm.
If you know you can't make it live, you can put a question in that I can answer while we are live. But I'm really excited about it, because I think, just something that feels lighter, but it's still going to be really impactful.
I
And
love
just
it.
one comment on, and sometimes people hear group, and then the fear, right? Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna, share something personal. But I will tell you, from I'm someone that community, number one, community is really important to me. I like being a part of community. I like developing community, but I have never been part of a group coaching as a participant that I haven't come away with just massive, either long-term friendships or just additional knowledge, because
Mm.
I have found that even watching someone else get coached, I learned so much, so there's just so
Yeah.
much around that. But, if you've not ever been in a group program before, I will say a couple things about that. You will quickly learn two things. One is, you'll get in there and realize you're not the only one feeling this way. And I think so much at the time, especially with a lot of us spend the day on an island of one, if you will. I mean, obviously you guys have your uplines and you have your colleagues, but sometimes it really does feel isolating. And you think, I think I'm the only one that feels like this. I'm looking around and everyone else is doing their lives or doing their thing. And
Right.
I must be, what's wrong with me? Right. And so you quickly learn, okay,
We all are.
a lot of people
Yeah.
are feeling this very same way. And then the other thing is that, like I said, that sense of camaraderie when you come in, and there's just something really special about a shared experience.
Yeah.
And you come alongside and we're all end up cheering for each other and like, let's go and do this, and let's dust off those cobwebs of that confidence muscle, and let's get it going. So I'm
I
excited about
love
that.
it.
And it's $47, so very easy investment. And I have
What?
a $10
Wait,
off
what?
coupon.
Did you, sorry, hold on. Did you say $47 for a
I did.
complete?
I did.
I know how much you normally charge, Angela, so that's freaking amazing. Okay.
Yeah. I
And
just sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say, what if someone's watching this recording? So today's March 24th, and it's gonna start on the Sunday the 26th, right?
Yeah.
So if they watch this a couple days in, would they be able to still join and get caught up, or do they need to wait for the next one?
No, absolutely. And I think so.
Or
Again,
is
that's
there?
why it's
Okay.
join. I mean, even if they joined a week late, it will still be impactful, I promise.
Okay.
And I think I just felt so compelled, like with all of this, just having this
I
and overwhelmed. I'm like, let's
yeah.
get some simple stuff. Let's get into some quick actions. Um, and that's why I just didn't want price to be an issue. And I'm going to, I have a special $10 off coupon for doTERRA for you guys. So take advantage of that. I mean, even if you listen to, I don't normally do live coaching. That's usually, like you're saying,
The
a
bigger,
different
yeah,
price
that's
point.
yes.
But I'm excited about it. It's 30 minutes. We'll get on and just be able to, help people move forward and learn from each other. Um, so, I mean, even just if you do nothing else other than just listen to the replays of the live coaching,
Yeah, I
you
think
would
that's yeah.
more than have, yeah, you would more than have, the benefit of what we're trying to do.
So I think you've definitely read the room, because I think a lot of us are feeling overwhelmed. Like we have more resources than ever that are, pulling us in a lot of different directions, and we want to do it all, but then it ends up sucking our time and our energy, and we end up getting distracted. So I love the idea of just touch points over 3 weeks that are just in bite-sized increments. I think that that's so beneficial. And when you build your confidence, then everything will grow. Like the things that you become like King Midas, and the things that you touch turn to gold. So yeah, to me it's a no-brainer. I will be signing up. um, I would like to just invite anybody who's on live with us right now. I'm seeing that people are writing things in the chat. Guys, let's have a Q&A for a few minutes. If you got questions for Angela, here's your chance, okay? Um, so it says, so Shannon says, I'm in the same boat, Amber, and oh, they're working and they have to stay on mute. So they're doing double duty right now. Jessica was saying that Harvest Spice has cassia in it. I actually got a couple text messages too. So while you guys are typing in your questions, um, I got a direct message. Someone asked me, they said this: I started out feeling confident and talking to my warm market, but people are ghosting me. What could I do differently?
Okay. That's a good question. And I'm sure, very, very common thing. Um, One of the things that I would say, and Tiffany touched on this a little bit earlier, that, and I did a little bit, but when, again, anytime we're getting out of our comfort zone, it's going to feel that scariness every time. So we just learn how to keep moving forward. And one of the things I would say about that question in particular is not to take it personally, as we were just discussing. I mean, there's just so much stuff coming at us from all angles. I mean, we certainly couldn't have I don't think, foreseen this level of information coming at us all day, every day. It's absolutely overwhelming. And now we have AI who is,
Mhm.
as we sleep every night, replicating all the knowledge of the world
Right.
to make things move even faster. So I really believe that rejection, as if we want to use that hard R word, I'm not a fan of that. I like to think of it as, even if it's ghosting, whether it's someone just says no, no response, whatever, I like to think of that as, it's okay, not right now. That's not a no forever. That's just a not right now. So, kind of a funny story is I was thinking about this today, is one of my closest friends for over 23 years. She was maid of honor at my wedding. When we did the fundraiser in December, she says to me, "Oh my gosh, I love doTERRA. I've used their products for years." I'm like, "What now? I've known you for 22 years. I've never heard you mention doTERRA. I've never heard you use oils. I've never heard what?" And I just kind of had to laugh about that. But in all honesty, she may have mentioned that to me. Yeah, she's a client, or she's not
Customer.
a wellness advocate. I'll just put it that
Yeah,
way.
sure.
Um, but maybe she did mention it to me. Maybe I was just in a different place in my life or whatever. But I don't remember that if she did. But I think that's sort of an interesting lesson around, people are going through so much. It really doesn't have anything to do with you. I know it feels like it, because it feels like rejection, and who wants to feel those heavy emotions? But
Mhm.
I promise you, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your products. It has everything to do with whatever might be going on in their lives. But again, this is why we need to pay attention to our thoughts, and redirect those thoughts,
Yeah.
because we can go down that rabbit hole very, very quickly,
Oh my
right?
gosh,
Because what happens?
it's so
They didn't
true.
respond. I didn't sound smart. They think I'm silly. They hate my products. That's what we do.
You know,
That's what we do.
yeah, I had a college professor. I was a psychology major for a little while, just for a blip on my screen. And probably the best thing I learned from those those classes that I took was one statement that one of my professors said. And he said, in the absence of information, your
Mm,
brain makes up stories. And
100%,
then you start
1,000.
taking those stories and believing them to be true. And like you were talking about before, those stories tend to be negative.
Yes.
And they're not based on any fact, right? So we just have to like be like water off a duck's back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And funny that you mentioned that. So here's something that I have trained myself to do, because it's not fun. Of course, it isn't fun. But what I've trained myself to do is to literally shrug my shoulders and go, "Okay, not now,
Yeah.
next." And
Right.
I literally say it out loud, because it just reinforces when we hear it. It's just another way we're getting information. Our brains believe whatever we tell it. So when you can say it out loud, but I literally would just make myself shrug and go, "Okay, not right now. Let's move on." And
Mhm.
there's just something about that simple act of going, "Okay, no big deal," that presents a lightness. And then I go, move on, and who's the next person that I want to reach out to? Who's the next person that might be able to help?
And like
And
physically you're lifting
yeah,
yourself, right?
absolutely, absolutely. So imagine how my day proceeds in that mindset,
Right. Or where it could
versus
go.
if I go over here and go down that rabbit hole and allow those, "It's me, I'm bad, I'm not smart, I don't know enough,"
All
fill in the
progress is
blank,
just cut off. Yeah.
we're stuck.
Right.
We're stuck. So I don't know. Try that, see if that works. But we'll be like, "Okay, not right now." But you never know. That's like my story with my friend. Like 20 years later, she's like, "Oh, doTERRA, I love their products." It's just, you never know. And I think the other key is just consistency. I know sometimes it feels like no one's listening, but if you just keep putting the information out and letting people know what you're doing. There was another friend of mine who had some healthcare products, and I saw her post for I think more than a year before I actually reached out to her and said, tell me a little bit about this. So it's just timing as well. And
Yeah.
so if you can just continue to take those actions and put yourself out there, it will make a difference. People are watching. Um, and it's just a matter of timing. Sometimes when life calms down or, something like that, it can be, just so don't take it personal.
Yeah. So would you mind putting your links in the chat? And then we'll also, for people watching the recording, I'll post the links in the description. So what we need is we need a link to your, well, you know what links. What links are you going to put in there? We need the link to your website so that we can hop on your workshop. And if anybody wants to check out the Joyful Life Cochlear Implant Fund, we could use that link too.
Here's the link. And then, like I said, there's a $10 coupon
And then, yeah, the coupon
for
code.
you guys.
So while you're putting those links in there, I'm going to read one more question. Amber says, thank you so much for this info. It's been
Oh,
helpful.
you're so welcome.
Okay, here's the question. I know what I should do, but I procrastinate really bad. I can't seem to get myself to pick up the phone. Any tips?
That's a great question.
Procrastination.
That's such a great question. Let me just say, my heart goes out to whoever wrote that question, because I've had a up close, intimate relationship with that space, and it sucks. And be perfectly honest, it's a really difficult space to be in. Um, the short answer is nothing aside from taking action will get you out of that. And I know we want it to be the other way. I know you want it, I'll do something to feel more confident and then I will do it. But it just doesn't work that way. We have to get into that action and be extremely compassionate with yourself, because it really does. It's like the story that I told about my client from Brooklyn. It feels so real. Like I said, I've been in that space where you sometimes just wake up and you feel like you are in paralysis, like you can't move. It can be that strong. And that's where I think another thing too is if you have someone that will be compassionate, that can sort of help you be half compassionate, half a little tough love, and have you be accountable, taking one small step, and then we'll have that reaction that number one, you'll feel that productivity and you'll go, okay, and then you'll feel like, okay, it wasn't so bad, let me try something else, or try again. But if it just needs to be something super super small just to get out of that paralysis, pick something small. But unfortunately, taking action is what's required. But be compassionate to yourself, because that is what's going on. And then also too, it's so hard in this world, especially of social media. But what you all do in network marketing, we really get into comparison so easily.
Oh, so true.
And that is just also, so try to not pay so much attention. What can I do right now today to get myself moving, forget what everyone else around me is doing? And because this really is hard, because then what happens when we're in that space as well, that can actually get us in reverse if we can't quickly move forward. Use some oils, breathe, breathe in like balance or lavender, something that's calming, and try to get forward. But how that can actually take us in reverse is because when we know what we need to do, and we're trying to think about this from a logical perspective, but this is all emotional, and emotions are not logical. And that's why having these oils in the toolbox can be so, so helpful. But what will happen is, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, I can't get myself to do it, then comes self-loathing,
right,
with a vengeance, and worthlessness, and And then we're really down the rabbit hole. Then we're really in reverse and we're really stuck. And so anything that one can do to minimize that, and even the smallest step, one day at a time, one step one day each, or something like that, that really is so important. And if you do have someone that you can reach out to, email me, we'll have a little chat, we'll get into some forward movement. But yeah, that's it's a very common place to be, I have learned, but man, is it not fun.
It's,
It's not a fun
yeah,
place to
it's
be.
one thing to be questioning your effectiveness in what you're doing. It's another whole thing to be questioning who you are, right? And not feeling worthy as a person. Like you got
Yeah,
to work on that
yeah,
and get yourself out of that space. And then suddenly everything just starts to fall into place, right? It starts to click. And I sometimes will fall into that. It's not like you get into that space and then you get out of it for the rest of your life, right? It like kind of comes and goes in
hmm,
waves,
yeah,
right? Like you feel confident and then like you were saying, maybe you even reach a level of success and then you get uncomfortable again.
yeah,
What happens there, you can either, get uncomfortable and lean into it, or you can go down that rabbit hole that you were mentioning. So
yeah.
guys, I just want to invite everybody again, check out the links that Angela put in the chat for her workshop that's starting on Sunday. I love that it's just little touch points for 3 weeks, nothing heavy, nothing that's going to consume your time. Share it with your teams. And Angela, too, I want to thank you so much for sharing yourself and your time with us. You are an extraordinary woman, and the world is a better place with you in it.
Oh, thank you. Well,
So,
it's my pleasure, and honestly, it's only because I have been in those oh heavy places and
yeah,
not knowing what to do. And so if I can help prevent even one person from spending time in that space, especially when like the self-loathing comes, oh my goodness. um I'm an empath. You can, this is why I also have console.
I
Because
got to
it
you
does
got some
it
Shield.
touches me deeply, because I know how terrible it can
Yeah,
be to be in that space, and you just need something to help move you forward.
yeah,
And like you said, the thing is, we like to think that, okay, so I know these tools, I know I got my oils, I know how to redirect my thoughts. And we get to a certain degree, and then once when we're up leveling in some way or changing our life in some way, guess what shows back up? And you're like, are you kidding me, you again? I I went through this already. And so now it is, like you said, lean into it is a great way to describe it. It's like,
yeah.
now I expect it. Now I expect it's going to show up. I get in front of a larger audience, or get in front of, whatever the thing might be. You're getting out of your comfort zone. Maybe you got a promotion at work or something, or maybe you've achieved the next level in doTERRA, and guess who's coming to dinner?
New
Like,
new
right? They're
level, new devil, right?
And
Yeah,
so it's just always that reminder. But the biggest goal is to just minimize the time spent there. So
yeah.
utilize all the tools, utilize the oils, utilize the other tips and tricks and stuff, and get out of that space and get into some more action.
Awesome. And I appreciate you sharing all your tips and hacks and strategies with us today. I can't wait to learn more in your workshop. I want to thank everybody who was here with us today. If you're watching the recording, links are in the description, guys. This was awesome. Angela, I just love you. I just adore you. I
Well, I
can't
adore you. I adore you
wait.
right back.
So
And
everybody, I just want to invite you to just, find that seed of greatness inside you. The world needs to hear your voice. So get comfortable with getting uncomfortable. And I hope to see you all at Angela's workshop. You guys all have an amazing day.
thank you so much, Tiffany.
Thank you. Bye, guys.